In Los Angeles County alone, roughly 14,000 people sleep inside a vehicle every night. Across America, estimates put the number between 45,000 and 67,000. Cars, vans, RVs parked in Walmart lots, side streets, church parking lots tucked under overpasses. But here is what catches researchers off guard. People living in vans are more likely to be employed, more likely to live in family households, and less likely to be chronically homeless than people sleeping in tents or on sidewalks. So how does someone turn a bare cargo van into a livable home for under $200? A van on the street is the single biggest dividing line in homelessness. Researchers at UCLA's Lewis Center tracked vehicle dwellers across Los Angeles from 2016 to 2020 and found that the population rose 55% in 4 years, from 12,200 to 18,900 people. Of that group, 28% lived in vans. And compared to people sleeping in tents and on sidewalks, vehicle dwellers looked different. 64% were women. 18% lived in households with children. Only 38% were chronically homeless, compared to 50% of the non-vehicular population. A van provides a lockable door, weather protection, mobility to reach jobs, and somewhere to store everything you own. But a bare cargo van is still just a metal box with a flat floor. It can be freezing in winter, blistering in summer, and about as comfortable as sleeping on a warehouse shelf. So the first thing anyone does is build a bed. 2 sheets of 3/4-inch plywood from a hardware store run about $15 each. Set them on top of 4 or 5 milk crates or stack a few 5-gallon buckets, and you have a sleeping platform at 12 to 16 inches off the floor. That height matters because everything underneath becomes storage. Bins of clothes, canned food, water jugs, tools, gear bags. All of it slides underneath and out of the way. A 2-inch foam mattress topper or a folding camping pad goes on top for around $10 to $20. Some builders add a hinge to one plywood panel so it lifts up for easier access to the bins below. The whole setup costs $30 to $50, often less because free plywood shows up constantly on Facebook Marketplace from construction sites clearing out materials. A couple who documented their conversion turned a 1994 Chevy G20 into a livable home in under 1 week with a total build cost of $900. The bed was the first thing they built. It is always the first thing. But a plywood platform inside a metal shell does not solve the temperature problem. Sheet metal has almost no insulating value. On a 30-degree night, the interior of an uninsulated cargo van drops to within a few degrees of the outside air. That is where insulation changes the math entirely. The standard budget material is XPS foam board. That is the pink or blue rigid panel you find at any hardware store. It has an R value of 5 per inch, meaning each inch blocks 5 units of heat transfer. At roughly 42 cents per square foot for 1 inch thickness, it is the cheapest effective insulation available for van builds. You cut panels to fit between the van's metal wall ribs, secure them with cans of expanding spray foam at around $5 each, and seal gaps with aluminum foil tape. The floor gets a layer of 1/2-inch XPS under a plywood subfloor, and here is where a common mistake costs people comfort. Reflectix, that shiny bubble wrap material, is one of the most popular van insulation products sold online. But stuck directly against metal walls, it does almost nothing. Reflectix reflects radiant heat, and it needs an air gap to work. Without that gap, heat conducts straight through the bubbles into the metal. Where Reflectix actually works is as a window cover reflecting heat coming through the glass. A full van insulation job using foam board and spray foam runs roughly $40 to $80 in materials, and it turns that metal box into something that actually holds warmth. However, insulation creates a problem that catches first-time van dwellers completely off guard. A sleeping person exhales roughly 1 litre of moisture every single night. In a house, that moisture disperses into thousands of cubic feet of air. Inside a van, you have about 60 cubic feet, so all that moisture condenses on the coldest surface it can find, usually the metal walls and ceiling. Within a few days, you get mould. Within a week, you get rust forming on exposed metal, wet bedding, and air quality that makes your lungs burn. The fix is simple, but non-negotiable. Ventilation. Even cracking a window 1 inch creates enough airflow to cycle moist air out. The gold standard is a roof-mounted vent fan, which pulls humid air up and out through the ceiling. Those run $80 to $120. But the budget version works almost as well. A small USB-powered clip fan, costing $5 to $10 and pointed toward a cracked window, moves enough air to keep condensation manageable. Experienced van dwellers also learn fast that cooking inside the van without a door or window open turns the moisture problem from bad to unbearable. Cooking is a major source of moisture. Steam from boiling water or frying food saturates that tiny air volume in minutes. So you have a bed, insulated walls, and a fan keeping the air dry. The next layer turns a sleeping space into an actual living space. A single burner butane camp stove costs $10 to $15 and runs on fuel canisters for about $2 each. One canister provides 3 to 4 hours of cooking. That is hot meals for a week for under $5 in fuel. Food storage without electricity means buying only what you will eat that day. Grocery stores effectively become the refrigerator. For power, a car inverter plugged into the cigarette lighter converts 12-volt direct current to standard. Alternating current power for $15 to $20. That handles phone charging and small devices. LED puck lights or USB strip lights cost $5 to $10 and draw almost no power. For a shower, a garden pressure sprayer filled with water you heated on the stove provides a surprisingly effective rinse for under $8. Water storage is a 5-gallon jug refilled at gas stations or public park faucets for about 25 cents a gallon. The whole kitchen and power setup adds roughly $40 to $70 to the build. Combined with the sleeping platform and insulation, you are looking at a total conversion cost between $150 and $300. But none of that matters if you get towed, ticketed, or told to move every single night. The invisible skill behind van dwelling is parking. Vehicle colour and type make a real difference. A clean white cargo van parked in a commercial lot looks like a plumber's work truck. Nobody gives it a second thought. Painted murals, roof racks, and visible solar panels signal that someone lives inside. Experienced van dwellers follow a strict set of rules. Arrive late. Leave early. Never park in the same spot 2 nights in a row. Cover the windows with dark fabric, not reflectics, because shiny surfaces catch street light and draw attention. Do all cooking and activity before pulling into the overnight spot. Once parked, the van goes dark and silent. The best overnight locations include big box retail parking lots, hospital visitor parking areas, apartment complex guest zones, and well-lit industrial streets where work vans are expected. The worst spots are residential dead-end streets where neighbours notice quickly anywhere near a school, and private lots with active security cameras. And here is the tension. Municipal ordinances restricting overnight vehicle dwelling have increased over 200% since 2006 across nearly 200 tracked cities, according to the National Homelessness Law Centre. So finding somewhere legal to just exist in your own vehicle gets harder every year. If you're learning something from this, consider subscribing. We cover survival topics like this every week, and it helps us keep making them. For people who need more than just a parking spot and good instincts, some cities have started building something better. Safe parking programs are designated lots where vehicle dwellers can legally park overnight and access restrooms, showers, food, and case management services. The concept was pioneered by a non-profit called New Beginnings in Santa Barbara, California, which opened its first lot in 2004. Today, the program manages over 200 spaces across 27 lots in Santa Barbara County. In San Diego, the Jewish Family Service Safe Parking Program operates 5 secured lots, open 7 nights a week. A 3-year study by UC San Diego found that 40% of participants successfully transitioned into permanent housing. Younger clients, women, veterans, and families showed the highest rates. Participants overwhelmingly preferred safe parking over traditional shelters, citing safety and stability and the ability to keep their vehicle and their autonomy. Dozens of new programs have launched across the country in the last 5 years, from Sacramento and Denver to Indianapolis, Beaverton, and Duluth. The cost ranges from $10 to $35 per vehicle per night, depending on services provided. That's a fraction of what a traditional shelter bed costs. Pretty practical model, right? But even without a sanctioned program, plenty of van dwellers take the build further than anyone would expect. Vanessa, the woman who was homeless for a decade before buying her Ford E350, built a full living space inside it. She created a sleeping platform with built-in storage, a loveseat lounge area made with thrift store cushions, a vanity unit with a mirror and shelf, and a portable toilet made from a cooler with a screw-down lid filled with pine pellets for odor control. She empties it every 2 or 3 days. Her total cost, including the van itself, came in under $2,000. Other common additions on a tight budget include a curtain divider between the cab and living area that uses $3 of fabric, a magnetic spice rack from a dollar store, cargo net ceiling storage for lightweight gear, and a collapsible dish tub for washing. Solar4 Camper, a site that tracks van dwelling costs, estimates that a person generating their own power, parking for free and managing water carefully, can live for roughly $350 per month. Add about $150 in winter months for diesel heating. That's around $500 a month total. Full-time van dwellers consistently report something that surprises outsiders. After the first month of adjustment, the space stops feeling small and starts feeling efficient. Everything has a place. Every item serves a function. Nothing is wasted. The average American home is about 2,300 square feet. A cargo van offers roughly 60 square feet. But both contain the same essentials: a place to sleep, a way to eat, a way to stay warm, and a door that locks from the inside. For tens of thousands of people, that 60 square feet is the difference between sleeping on concrete and sleeping in something that feels like home. Vanessa said it best about her van. She said Treasure was not perfect. She said she herself was not perfect. But they loved each other because the van had never left her stranded. That kind of relationship with a 60 square foot home, built with your own hands from plywood and foam and thrift store finds, deserves a lot more respect than it gets. If you want to see how else people survive on the street with almost nothing, that video is on screen right now.